Now, I will be honest, I've only read one Stephen King book in my life. It was the book It. I read it in high school. Now, for the movies, I've seen like 90% of the movie adaptations that have been from his books. And I will admit, there are some out there that are real wacky and really just out there. But then there's ones that are like amazing storytelling. This movie, I think, really went for that wacky tone, and it can work for many people. The Monkey stars Theo James is about when twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic. A series of gruesome deaths start. From director Osgood Perkins, the man that brought you Longlegs, which came out last year and was a major hit. A movie that's actually grown on me, I will admit. We're talking his brand new movie, The Monkey, which is based off a short story of the famous author Stephen King. I will admit, I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks so out there, but this is not what I expected, because Longlegs was a box office smash hit, and it was only released less than a year ago, and Neon was like, hey, we want to do another movie with you. We want you to do this Stephen King short story, and here you go. And so, from the trailer, I was intrigued. His direction, I'm intrigued, but I did not think it was going to be super comedy wacky, and from the trailers, that's what it looked like. I was like, okay, that's good to know going in. And I can say this 100%. This movie is going to be for some of you. And some of you are not going to like this movie. And I'm not going to say I'm in the ballpark of I don't like this movie, but I will say I did not love this movie, and I'm definitely disappointed. But, of course, let's begin with the positives. First things first. Man, this movie was made so well. Oh my God, the cinematography, it's amazing. The color of this movie, the design, the blocking, the movement of the camera, the editing, the sound mixing, the music, the production team, seriously, like, great job. You made a great looking horror movie, a movie that the entire time I was like, I'm loving watching this movie. The colors and just the mixture of the sound effects and what they're doing with all the deaths and everything. Truly, I was sitting there saying, I'm just admiring watching this movie on a big screen. It truly is an awesome movie to look at. Osgood Perkins does a very good job directing this movie, and he does give it a tone of a dark comedy. So do not go into this movie when the commercials and everything are saying, from the director of Longlegs, and Longlegs is very serious Silence of the Lambs type movie. This is not that. This is Stephen King when we are like, almost in Maximum Overdrive. Like, that's how wacky this movie gets. I'm not kidding you. And I am not a fan of Maximum Overdrive, so what does that tell you? So anyways, more positives. Theo James. He plays twin brothers in this movie. And the main brother that we get to meet through this whole movie, most of the movie, I thought he did a very good job. I think his voice was really good in this movie. There's scenes where he talks with his twin brother on the phone, and it's obviously him. I just gotta admit, his voice was really nice to listen to. I'm gonna be honest. And I thought his main performance in the movie was really solid, and he really hits dark comedic moments perfectly, because this brother is like the nerdy one that gets bullied and such. I thought he did a great job. Christian Convery, he plays the younger twin brothers in both roles. He did an amazing job. I actually think he did both roles really good, like better than Theo James in my opinion, because the first 30 minutes of this movie is him as a kid, and you have Tatiana Maslany as the mom, who I absolutely love as an actress. If you've watched Orphan Black, then you know how amazing she is as an actress. I wish she was more in this movie. I do wish that, but in the very beginning, when these brothers get this monkey and things start happening, people start getting killed, I was in for it. And honestly, I just feel like the story really worked in the beginning of this movie. And I'm going to compare it to another movie pretty soon when I get to my negatives, but I was in for it. And then it jumps 25 years later. Then it's 2024. And I think the movie's plot and script got so convoluted with extra characters, and it became really of a mess tonally, because the first 20-25 minutes, I just think this artifact, a toy monkey, works with the kids and the brothers and these bullies at school, and the brother just hating his brother, and he does something that causes someone to die. It really worked. And that same performance of a child is then brought into the second half with Theo James. Now, again, as the main brother that we do know in this movie, he's fine. He's actually really good in my opinion. The other brother, I don't know what Theo James was going for. I don't know if he was replicating the young boy's performance. I just thought it was a little too cartoony for my taste. I thought it was a little bit over the top in my opinion. There's one moment, I think he's like, all right, that was really good, when he's playing the bully brother. But I just think he was a little bit over the top. And then there's other performances in this movie on the adult section that I just didn't buy, because I don't think the tone worked fully as the adults, because the movie became more serious and tried to be, I think, more scary. Because I wouldn't say this movie is honestly scary, but the second half definitely tries to go for a few more jump scares, and I was like, what are we doing here? And then it gets convoluted, and the third act is a mess. I'll be honest, it's a complete mess, and I didn't like the ending at all. But the thing is, what I find really interesting with this movie, I'm going to compare it to the movie It. The first half worked with the kids and the clown. The second half with the adults working with the clown didn't really work for most. That's the most common criticism about It. Honestly, same thing here. I thought the same thing. First half of the kids, I was into this movie. The tone worked, the kids in the story, it just worked. The second half, it just felt off. It felt really off. Now this is the thing that's going to get a little controversial. The kills are fun in this movie. Let me be really clear. They are fun, they are shocking, they are bloody. 80% of them is CGI, and it's not good CGI. Okay, it's not terrible CGI, it's just very noticeable CGI. And honestly, when you watch a movie like Terrifier, you're like, listen, practical effects can be so amazing, and we can see it be done. To watch this movie with probably a much bigger budget than Terrifier 3, it just disappoints me when it's a lot of CGI. And I can't lie, every time the CGI deaths happen, I was a little disappointed. Now, this issue I'm coming up, it's another issue that's not really for the movie, it's for the marketing. I think the trailer showed too much. Me personally, it showed a lot of the best deaths, and it showed a lot of the setup, and they didn't show the death in the trailer, but they showed the setup, example, the pull, because the actual outcome is wow. But in the trailer, you don't see that wow moment. But you knew it was coming, and I just feel like a lot of the trailer did show a lot of the movie. It didn't really show any of the third act, which I like. But I didn't like the third act at all. I did not like this ending. I won't spoil it, but there's a moment where a character realizes something. And this character says something to the other character and is like, yeah, you're right. I never really thought about it like that. He says those words. And I was like, is this character fucking with this other character? Because that's what I think. This character is not. And then the resolution of this scene, I was like, Are you kidding me? That's what we're going for in this story, that moment, and then for that to happen, and then the last 3 minutes happens, I'm like, what are we doing? And I didn't buy it, and I didn't really find it funny, because they did go for a lot of jokes in the final few moments of this movie. Didn't really buy it. And I'll say this, there is a few good funny moments, but I will say there was more non-funny moments for me. Either way, overall, let me say this. The Monkey is a watchable movie. It is. I think Theo James' main performance is good in this movie. I think the first 25 minutes when they are as a kids, it's probably it is my favorite part of the entire movie. Everything else feels like a huge mess, and it just feels like it didn't really work in my opinion. And again, I feel like some people are going to watch this movie and like it a lot more than me, because it seems like everyone has seen this movie since they saw it last week, but I was busy and I get to see it now. I will say I'll definitely watch this movie again one day. I definitely will. I think it's overall a well-made movie. It has its little moments worthy of a rewatch. But overall, I'm gonna say I was not a fan of this one. I'm disappointed. It could have been worse, but it could have been a lot better. I'm gonna give The Monkey a C. And to let all of you know, if you want to stay for the after credits, Osgood Perkins has another movie coming out this October. I forget the name of it, but it's literally like 30 seconds of a real teaser of his next movie. And from the teaser alone, it looked like he's going way more serious on that next movie. That I'm more intrigued on. The funny, wacky movie, not my thing. But again, this is coming from a person who, when I think Stephen King does wacky, Maximum Overdrive, I don't like that movie. So this movie is in that same ballpark as me. So if you enjoy his wackiness, you're going to love this movie. You're going to absolutely love it. Me personally, just not a fan of me. I like Stephen King. I love a lot of his stuff. His wackiness, though, it gets a little weird. I guess Osgood Perkins was like, hey, I want to do that. That's respect, man. And you guys enjoy this movie review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.